The first major legal challenge to President Trump's executive order scrapping birthright citizenship, which is guaranteed in the Constitution, is happening next hour. 4 Democratic-led states are asking a federal judge in Seattle to block the Trump order, which would require changes to the Constitution, but not going through the constitutional process for amendments. NBC is also learning that the Border Patrol is looking at expanding the controversial use of buoys in the water at the southern border to deter migrants. They had been banned by the federal government under the Biden administration because of safety issues to those who are crossing. Joining us now is NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley, NBC correspondent Priscilla Thompson at the border in El Paso, Texas, and Veronica Cardenas, former assistant chief counsel at ICE and founder of the Humanigration. So, Julia, first of all, what are you hearing? Tell us what you expect at the hearing in Seattle.
Well, look, this is the first legal challenge. You have 22 states, as well as the ACLU, and a number of pregnant women who are being represented. And they are all challenging this idea that Trump can basically change the Constitution through an executive order. That's what he did on Monday night when he said that he wanted to end birthright citizenship. Now, the way that the Trump administration will argue this is they will zero in on the words subject to the jurisdiction thereof. I keep writing this out so I don't forget those words. It's important because the 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to anyone born in the United States of a U.S. citizen or subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the United States. That exception, those who they do not consider to be subject to the jurisdiction, are children of diplomats who are born here. But by and large, anyone born here to anyone, even if they're unlawfully here, is a U.S. citizen, according to the 14th Amendment. The way Trump wants to change that is by saying anyone who's born not only to a mother who's unlawfully here, but one who is legally here but temporarily cannot be a U.S. citizen unless the father is a U.S. citizen or is here permanently and legally, such as being on a green card. So that's a large group of people. That could mean companies have a hard time hiring people on temporary visas because their children will be born almost stateless. Another thing we have to point out is that Trump has said time and time again that the U.S. is the only country that honors birthright citizenship, and that's not true. As we know, our neighbors to the north and south and some countries in South America do honor birthright citizenship, Andrea.
And Priscilla, at the border, talk to us about the troops that are heading down there. These are uniformed troops, which is not the first time that that's happened, but it is coming under the rubric of this immigration crisis, border crisis that the president has declared.
Yeah, Andrea, so it's been fairly quiet here so far this morning. We have been in front of this central processing center for the past several hours, and we have seen the big buses that are used to transport migrants in this area coming and going, but we haven't seen migrants on them. But of course, this could look very different in the coming days and weeks with the announcement of those 1,500 troops that are going to be headed here to El Paso and also to San Diego, and officials saying that they are not going to be dealing necessarily with enforcement, but rather with detection and monitoring. Defense officials saying that they're going to be helping to build border barriers and also assisting with deportation flights. And just to give you a bit of context about how things go sort of here in El Paso, this bridge actually connects El Paso to its sister city, Juarez. There's a lot of international trade that happens between these two cities daily, with people walking and driving across that bridge. And we spoke to one woman who was very concerned about what this could mean for their economy here. And she said it's one thing to, deport people in the masses who are coming right now, but what about the people who have been here for decades and have really become a part of this economy? And we heard the mayor here overnight sort of echoing that, saying that he wants to continue to let this be a welcoming and safe space, and that the economy is really going to be critical in all of this. And we also, I will just note, on the other side in Juarez, we know that they are setting up these massive tents that are expected to be open by the end of the day so that they can begin to accept people who may be being returned to Mexico. Andrea?
And this is obviously a really fluid situation. Veronica, you're the daughter of immigrants. You worked for ICE for a number of years. Talk to us about how this is all going to go down at the border. Most of the people in your organization, as you just explained to me, are in New Jersey and New York.
Yeah. And I think that what the approach that Humanigration is taking right now is to really focus on a holistic approach, because there's so much fear with all these executive actions that have been enacted, from rescinding the term of non-citizen to alien. These are very pointed policy decisions. And today, another order showing that anyone present inside the United States who has been here for less than 2 years can now go into a expedited removal, which gives less due process rights. And so we are, number one, trying to support all non-citizens, no matter where they're located, letting them know that there are many organizations here that are fighting for their rights.
Are you organizing lawyers for them?
Yes, and so we, at Humanigration, we also mentor new lawyers. We have a big community. We're located all over the United States, and we are doing a pro bono work, especially for people who don't have the means for lawyers. Because these are very, essentially what Trump is doing is using a cannon to kill a mouse. It's very destructive and very disproportionate to the issue at hand.
I mean, you were an ICE lawyer.
Yes.
And so you know this whole issue inside and out. How challenging is it for people? Some have language barriers. They don't have finances. Some have jobs, some don't. They're
Right.
afraid of deportation orders.
And I think that coming from the ICE environment, it's a very unsympathetic environment. They don't understand that what we have here, non-citizens don't have that in their country. Even something as simple as pushing an elevator button at 26 Federal Plaza, they've never seen things like that before. And so we expect them to navigate the system without the help of a lawyer. These are civil proceedings, and even though they have the right to a lawyer, they're not assigned one, not even if they're detained. And right now, what we're also seeing is that people in New Jersey and New York, if they're detained in these states, they can be sent to Louisiana. Immigration has that authority. And so that makes it even more difficult to find counsel to represent them.
So challenging. They're fortunate to have you, but
Thank you.
it's just an enormous national crisis. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.